Welcome to Mishna study. Up to now, Masechet Demai, Perek Vav, Mishna Aleph. So the sixth Perek, we're going to speak about a lot about partnerships, right? If you have a partnership with someone, if you're literally partners and you're sharing percentages of the crop, or you're renting a field from someone, right? And you're paying the person in produce, in grain, right? Do you need to separate Trumot and Ma'asrot before you pay your rent? Right? Before you give your partner his share, right? Is it deductible? Basically asking, is it tax deductible, or do you need to pay it out first? That's what we're going to speak about over here, and it's going to depend on the type of partnership that we'll see, and it's going to depend a lot about Deoraita, and Chachamim are going to have, their say in this as well. המקבל שדה מישראל, או מן הנוכרי, או מן הכותי, חולק לפניהם. החוכר שדה מישראל תורם ונותן לו. אמר רבי יהודה, מתי? בזמן שנתן לו מאותה שדה ומאותו המין. אבל אם נתן לו משדה אחרת או ממין אחר, מעשר ונותן לו. So first of all, if a person is mekabel sadeh, if you see this Mishnah, you speak about mekabel sadeh, right? And a few lines down, you have hachocher sadeh, right? So there's two different types of employee agreements over here. If a person is mekabel sadeh, right, that means that he's accepting the field. Back up, right? He's basically saying, I am going to take the field, right? So I'm not the owner. Right? Someone else owns the field. I come and I say, I want to go ahead and use your field, and I'm going to pay you rent of 25%, of the produce that I, the grain that I get for the year, that I harvest this year. Right? So I'm basically, the field's not mine. I'm going ahead and renting the field, but for a percentage of the produce. Right? That's the type of partnership that's involved over here, and I need to almost pay the owner of the field, 25%. If I do that with the Israel, or with the Goy, with the Nochri, or with the Kuti, it doesn't matter. Cholek lifnehem. I don't need to separate Terumot, Ma'asrot, anything. I take that, whatever agreement we had, 25%, 50%, 70%, whatever it may be, I go ahead, I spread it out in front of them, and I said, this is my portion, and this is your portion. Now, I need to do it in front of them so they know that no Terumot and Ma'asrot were taken, and they know that there was Zol Tevil, and they're obligated in separating the Terumot and Ma'asrot on their own, right? But I don't need to separate Terumot and Ma'asrot before I give them their portion, right? That's the Hidush of this Mishnah. And that's in the case, like we said, where I am renting a field from them and paying them in produce a percentage to cover my rent. Next case is hachocher sadeh Israel. This is a different type of agreement. Hocher is if I want to pay rent, right, as a set amount. I am saying I am giving you 2 tons of wheat so I could use your field, regardless of how much produce this field produces for the year. It doesn't matter. My obligation is to give you 2 tons, right? Now I go ahead, I'm renting the field, and I'm paying him back in produce, but a set amount of produce. In that case, right, if I'm taking it from Israel, if I'm renting the field from Israel, I'm going to pay him in a set amount, torem v'noten lo. I need to first separate terumot, not maaser, just teruma. I need to separate first. That is not tax deductible, and then I could give him the balance. So 2% I need to take off the top. Right now, there's 98 left. Right, if I had an agreement that I was giving him 50%, right, I'm basically going to lose some of that. So I would end up giving him the 50, and now I'm out. I'm left with 48. So, sorry, obviously the wrong case, right? Over here I said I'm giving him 2 tons, so I need to go ahead. I separated Terumot and Ma'asrot over the whole field, including his 2 tons, and then I pay him the a full 2 tons, right? I don't give him, less 2%. I need to give him the 2 tons, but I need to take teruma over the entire grain produce that we harvest. Now, Rabbi Yehuda comes and says, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Ematai, when so? Right? And every time we have this, Rabbi Yehuda comes and he's explaining, he's not arguing whenever you have Amar Rabbi Yehuda. When so? This is only if, we had an agreement, I'm having a field of wheat, and I agree that I'm going to give him 2 tons of wheat from this field. But let's say I decide to give him from a different field, or I gave him from, barley, right? And instead of wheat, I gave him the value of barley. So it was 4 tons of barley instead of 2 tons of wheat, right? In that case, if I'm going ahead and do that, I'm changing from the original agreement. I'm not giving him from the exact field and from the exact produce that I was planting over there. Then me'aser v'noten, not torem v'noten. It's not enough to just take off terumot. Over here, I need to separate ma'asrot. This is an additional, 10%, 20%, right? 10 and 10. Ma'aser rishon and ma'aser sheni. An additional 20%, and then I give it to him. Right? That's a steep, a steep payment. And over here, halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, right? Because he is explaining, right? Explaining what preceded it, explaining the words of Tanakama. He's not arguing. And if a person does so, right, he would need to actually separate the terumot and the ma'asrot first, and then only pay those the set amount for his rent. Right, so like we said, there's a difference between mekabel and chocher, right? If you're mekabel, right, if you decide you're paying a percentage, right, then you could just put it in front. Everyone was splitting this equally, however we agreed. But if you're paying a set amount of rent, then you need to go ahead and separate the teruma first, and then only then do you pay him the rent. But if you decided to pay him the rent not from what you grew in the field, from something else, then you need to separate terumot and ma'asrot, and then only pay him the rent.